There are places on Earth where the laws of nature seem to have been rewritten, where impossible creatures defy everything we thought we knew about life. The Indian Ocean holds the planet's most extraordinary secret, a secret that has remained hidden for millions of years in the depths of 73 million square kilometers of water that few humans have witnessed. Stay until the end of this documentary because I'm going to reveal the most bizarre creature ever filmed. Something so strange that when scientists discovered it, they refused to believe it was real. But before that, prepare to meet giants that make dinosaurs look small, predators that hunt with otherworldly weapons, and a 50-year romance between birds that never touch the ground. These warm waters, heated to temperatures between 22 and 28 degrees Celsius, hide a third of all marine life on the planet, including species that science discovered only weeks ago. From depths where the pressure would crush a tank in seconds, to coral reefs that shimmer like alien cities under the moonlight. This ocean represents something humanity is about to lose forever. Every creature you'll see has a survival story so dramatic that Hollywood couldn't have invented a better one. The clock is ticking because what I'm about to show you may disappear before your children have a chance to witness it. "350 kilometers southwest of India, in the crystal-clear waters of the Maldives, our team filmed something that made even the most experienced cameraman let out a cry of admiration through his dive regulator. An oceanic manta ray, Mobula birostris, performing a dance that seems to defy physics. With a wingspan of 7 meters, this creature weighs 3 tons, but moves through the water with the grace of a ballerina, its velvety black wings cutting through the blue in mesmerizing slow motion. Here's the impossible. This animal possesses the largest brain of any fish on the planet, recognizes its own reflection in mirrors, remembers individual divers years after their last encounter, and feels complex emotions that scientists are only beginning to understand. When it opened its 5-foot-wide mouth right in front of our camera, it revealed nature's most sophisticated filtration system, capable of separating 60 kilograms of microscopic zooplankton from seawater in just 1 hour. But the blood-curdling moment came when she leapt completely out of the water, 3 meters of pure muscular power defying gravity. And for an eternity of a second, 3,000 kilograms of elegance hovered in the air before exploding onto the surface in a shower of liquid diamonds. Why does she do that? Nobody knows for sure. For 5 consecutive days, we followed the same manta ray to a secret location that only 12 humans have ever witnessed. A cleaning station where 200 small fish work in 24-hour shifts, removing parasites from its skin. What we filmed there changed everything we thought about animal intelligence. The Mobula birostris lined up, literally waiting its turn while others were attended to, demonstrating patience and an understanding of social order. Even more shocking, when a cleaner fish bit too hard, it didn't flee, but remained motionless while communicating discomfort through subtle changes in the posture of its wings, and the fish immediately adjusted its technique. This is interspecific communication happening in real time. Their gestation lasts 13 months, longer than humans, and produces only one pup that is born 2 meters long and already knows how to swim perfectly. But here is the tragedy that will break your heart. In just 30 years, 80% of all manta rays in the Indian Ocean have disappeared. The female we filmed may be one of the last of her lineage, swimming through an oceanic graveyard of relatives she will never see again. Each dive she takes could be her last. 400 kilometers off the African coast, Madagascar hides coral reefs, where we filmed something that seems to have come straight out of an underwater horror movie. The Scottish leaf fish, Tenianotus triacanthus, a killer that has turned patience into lethal art. For 3 hours and 47 minutes, our camera recorded this absolutely motionless predator, swaying in the currents like a dead piece of brown seaweed. Its 25 centimeters of body are a living lie. Every protrusion, every floating filament, every patch of color calculated through millions of years of evolution to create the most perfect camouflage ever documented. Its eyes can move 360 degrees independently, watching everything without moving a millimeter of its body. Then it happened. A 10-centimeter damselfish approached confidently, investigating what appeared to be just another piece of organic debris. In 6 milliseconds, too fast for the human eye to process, the Tenianotus triacanthus opened a mouth that expanded to 3 times the size of its head, creating a vacuum so powerful that the surrounding water visibly distorted, and the victim simply vanished. When we reviewed the footage in extremely slow motion, we saw physics being defied. The suction speed overwhelmed the prey's neuromuscular response capacity. But the real magic came weeks later, when we returned to the same reef. The leaf fish had completely changed color, now perfectly matching a different section of coral, where pale pink tones dominated instead of the previous brown. This transformation takes weeks of microscopic adjustments in pigment cells, a process so complex that scientists still don't fully understand how it's controlled. During the breeding season, we filmed males in battles that completely contradict their lethargic lifestyle. Bursts of speed, vicious bites, frantic chases that lasted 40 minutes of pure adrenaline. The winner earned the right to protect gelatinous eggs for 2 weeks, without eating anything at all, fiercely defending its offspring against predators 10 times its size. Here's the detail that will blow your mind. This fish has the lowest metabolic rate among all marine vertebrates, burning energy so slowly that it could theoretically survive months without a single meal. Evolution has transformed it into a machine of absolute efficiency, proving that in nature, patience trumps speed. Over the Seychelles Islands, 115 pieces of paradise scattered across 1,400,000 square kilometers of impossible ocean, we filmed a romance that would make Shakespeare weep. The white-tailed tropic bird, Phaethon lepturus, a bird that takes the concept of elegance to stratospheric levels. Its two central tail feathers measure 40 centimeters of pure white silk floating in the wind, twice the length of its entire body, serving absolutely no aerodynamic purpose except sheer beauty. When it dives from 20 meters high towards the ocean, reaching 80 kilometers per hour, these feathers transform it into something that looks more like art than biology. We positioned high-speed cameras to capture the moment of impact. The bird penetrates the surface like a spear of feathers, those impossible tails bending perfectly to minimize resistance, and emerges 3 seconds later with a silvery flying fish struggling in its orange beak. But wait until you see what we filmed on the granite cliffs where they nest. Male and female Pyrenean terns perform synchronized flights that seem choreographed by some supernatural intelligence. Soaring in twin spirals up to 300 meters high, their tails momentarily intertwining at the top before plunging together in free falls that end centimeters above the waves crashing on the rocks. This display can last 40 minutes, a test of endurance, synchronicity, and commitment. When they finally land in their secret rocky caves, something magical happens. They touch beaks delicately. Once, twice, 3 times, in a ritual of tenderness that transcends species. The single egg they produce is fiercely defended for 46 days, both parents taking turns in militarily precise shifts. We filmed a chick that took 12 weeks to learn to fly, practicing wing beats on the edge of a 50-meter cliff over sharp rocks and violent waves. Here's the chilling part. These birds return to the same cliff, the same rocky crevice, for 20 years or more. The female we filmed may have been born in the same cave where she is now raising her own cub. Generations piled upon generations, all faithful to a piece of rock in an endless ocean. "2,000 kilometers east of Africa, in the deep waters off Mauritius, we dived into nightmarish territory, the absolute domain of the blue shark, Prionas glauca, a predator so perfectly designed that it has remained virtually unchanged for 40 million years. Its iridescent indigo blue coloration on its back is not just beautiful, it's applied physics. This specific hue absorbs wavelengths of light that penetrate deep waters, making the shark invisible when viewed from below against the illuminated surface. When it passed 3 meters from our camera, 4 meters of pure muscle gliding effortlessly, the cameraman whispered a single word through the underwater radio: perfection. Sihi. Its extraordinarily long and narrow pectoral fins function exactly like airplane wings, generating lift that allows it to glide through currents with minimal energy expenditure. We filmed an individual hunting at 300 meters deep, where sunlight exists only as a faint bluish memory, using eyes so sensitive they can detect a single photon reflecting off fish scales. But the moment that left us speechless came when we witnessed something that only 3 film crews have ever recorded: a Prionas glauca capturing a giant squid in open water. The battle lasted 17 minutes of pure aquatic violence, 2-meter tentacles whipping, suckers leaving perfect circular marks on the shark's skin, black ink exploding in clouds that completely blocked our vision. When the cloud dissipated, the shark emerged victorious, holding half a squid body that still pulsed with blue-green bioluminescence. Its serrated, triangular teeth worked methodically, sawing through tissue with tensile strength comparable to steel cable. Here's the impossible fact. Satellite tracking revealed that these sharks migrate 9,000 kilometers across entire ocean basins, navigating with precision similar to a global positioning system through completely uniform water without visual landmarks. How? By detecting microscopic variations in the Earth's magnetic field. Pregnant females we tagged near Mauritius gave birth to 47 pups in Australian coastal waters 12 months later. Tragically, 70% of all blue sharks have disappeared in the last 3 decades. Their fins worth more dead than their entire lives. 1,500 kilometers south of the Maldives, the Diego Garcia Atoll hides treasures that witnessed the rise and fall of human empires. Colonies of brain coral, Diploria labyrinthiformis, that were alive when the pyramids were new. Three meters in diameter, 900 years of continuous growth, each groove and valley on its surface representing a story of survival through apocalyptic storms, devastating bleaching, and climate changes that extinguished civilizations. When we dived at dawn, these massive hemispheres of living rock shimmered in shades of olive green and golden brown, genuinely resembling forgotten alien brains at the bottom of the ocean. Our macro camera revealed the impossible truth. Every square centimeter contains thousands of individual polyps, each smaller than the head of a pin, all working in perfect orchestration to build cathedrals of calcium carbonate. They grow 5 millimeters a year, slower than human hair, but what they build lasts for millennia. We returned at midnight during the new moon in December and witnessed something that seemed like pure magic, filmed in 8,000 resolution. A synchronized mass spawning of Diploria labyrinthiformis. At precisely 10:17 p.m., as if orchestrated by some invisible maestro, millions of polyps simultaneously exploded into clouds of pink and orange gametes. The water around us transformed into an underwater blizzard of potential life. Billions of eggs and sperm meeting in a cosmic lottery. For 47 minutes, we filmed this spectacle that tinged the entire ocean with impossible colors, visible from the surface as a bright spot that orbiting satellites detected from space. Inside the coral structures, we discovered complete ecosystems. Cleaner shrimp established servicing stations in specific crevices. 2-meter moray eels hidden in caves that completely traverse the colonies, and damselfish fiercely defending territories smaller than their own hand against fish, 100 times their size. Here's the tragedy. Corals that survived for 900 years are dying in a matter of weeks due to warming of just 1.5 degrees Celsius above normal. We filmed centuries-old colonies completely bleached, skeletal ghosts of what they once were. We raced against the clock to document wonders that may no longer exist when you have children. Off the west coast of Australia, where the Indian Ocean meets icy currents from the south, there exists a creature so bizarre that when scientists discovered it in 1865, they published drawings that were ridiculed as obvious hoaxes. The leafy sea dragon, Phycodurus equus, looks like something that should only exist in underwater fairy tales. 35 centimeters of evolutionary fantasy covered in dozens of appendages that float like fronds of algae in shades of translucent green, yellow, orange, and purple. Each leaf sways independently in the currents, creating an illusion so convincing that experienced divers pass within centimeters without detecting them. We positioned ultra-slow motion cameras to capture the impossible. This animal moves using pectoral fins that pulse 10 times per second, completely invisible to the naked eye, creating propulsion through undulations that seem to violate conservation of momentum. Its tubular eyes rotate 360 degrees like organic cannon turrets, tracking prey, while its body remains petrified like a living sculpture. We followed a male Phycodurus equus, pregnant for 7 weeks, filming the impossible transformation in its body. The area under its tail gradually expanding as it carried 250 pink eggs deposited by the female. It moved slower and slower, vulnerable, overwhelmed, but never abandoned its patrol in a territory smaller than a dining table. When we finally witnessed the birth, it was like watching magic become real. Tiny 7mm versions emerging one after another, already perfectly formed with microscopic leaf-like appendages, each immediately swimming to hiding places in nearby algae. Here's the detail that will melt your heart. Tracking studies have revealed that sea dragons remain in the same 50-square-meter patch of ocean for an entire decade. The individual we filmed may have been born, grown, reproduced, and eventually died without ever traveling more than 100 meters from where it emerged from its father's egg. Absolute territorial fidelity in an endless ocean. But illegal collectors pay up to $10,000 for a single live specimen, and populations are disappearing as I speak. Legal protection exists, but how do you protect creatures in an ocean that no one watches over? 700 kilometers east of Madagascar, over the waters of Réunion Island, we filmed the absolute master of the ocean skies, the wandering albatross, Diomedea exulans, possessing the largest wingspan of any living bird, with 3.5 meters of wings that never need to flap. For 17 consecutive days, we tracked via satellite an individual that completely circumnavigated the southern hemisphere. 15,000 kilometers flown without touching water or land even once. How is this remotely possible? We positioned high-altitude drones and captured the answer. They fly in dynamic wave patterns, rising on updrafts up to 2,500 meters. Then gliding in shallow descents for kilometers and kilometers before catching the next updraft. Zero wing beats, zero energy expended. Pure physics transformed into aerial ballet. Their immaculate white bodies against black-tipped wings create such a dramatic contrast that they can be seen from 5 kilometers away even against the glare of the ocean. But the story that truly matters unfolds on land, on the windswept sub-Antarctic islands where Diomedea exulans returns to breathe. We filmed a pair reuniting after 12 months of complete separation, instantly recognizing each other despite having spent the entire year on opposite sides of the planet. Their greeting dance lasted 14 minutes of perfect synchronicity. Beaks delicately touching, wings spread in unison, complex vocalizations that sound like genuine conversation. This pair has been together for 43 years, returning to the same mud nest on the same windy cliff every season since 1982. The single egg they lay is incubated for 78 days, in shifts that can last 3 weeks, while the partner travels up to 3,000 kilometers in search of squid and fish. We filmed the female returning after 21 days at sea, landing with surgical precision inches from the nest in winds of 80 kilometers per hour, and regurgitating concentrated fish oil that the male consumed immediately before setting off for his own hunting shift. Here's the chilling part. The hatched pup will take 278 days to grow sufficiently. Then it will fly over the ocean without returning to land for 10 years. An entire decade living exclusively on water. 2,000 kilometers north of the equator, in the depths off the Somali coast, we used a pressurized submersible to dive where humans don't belong. The territory of the blue whale, Balaenoptera musculus, the largest animal that has ever existed in 4 billion years of Earth's history. 33 meters long, 200 tons of muscle, bone, and blubber. Larger than any dinosaur that ever walked the planet. When it passed alongside our submersible 15 meters away, the entire ocean seemed to move with it, currents displaced by its mass, creating turbulence that shook our titanium capsule. Its marbled bluish-gray coloration was marked by white scars from parasites and interactions with other whales, each mark telling a story of decades of oceanic journeys. Then it opened its mouth, and we filmed the impossible. 82,000 liters of water being swallowed in a single gulp, distending its pleated throat to 4 times wider than its normal body diameter. When this water was expelled through 400 filtering baleen plates, 3 tons of wriggling pink krill remained. A single breakfast for Balaenoptera musculus, which needs to consume this volume 3 times a day just to maintain its body weight. But the moment that made us forget to breathe came when she sang. Tones so deep and powerful that they vibrated through the hull of our submersible, 188 decibels of pure sound traveling through 1,600 kilometers of ocean to reach the ears of other whales beyond the horizon. These songs can last 30 minutes, complex patterns that vary regionally like cultural dialects. We tracked a pregnant female migrating 5,000 kilometers between icy polar waters where she feeds and warm tropical waters where she will give birth. The calf that emerges weighs 3 tons, measures 7 meters, and will drink 200 liters of breast milk daily, gaining 90 kilograms a day during the first months of life. Here is the tragedy that should enrage every person watching. Industrial whaling has reduced blue whales to 3% of their original numbers. Only 3 out of every 100 that existed before humans began mechanized slaughter survive today. We filmed ghosts swimming through empty oceans. 240 kilometers off the southwest coast of India, the Lakshadweep archipelago hides reefs that seem to have been touched by Midas. Fire coral, Millepora spe, transforming sunlight into living gold, vibrant mustard yellow, phosphorescent lime green, golden brown that pulsates with life of its own. These are not true corals, but colonial hydrozoans, cousins of jellyfish that have traded nomadic lives for permanent limestone fortresses. Approach recklessly and learn why they earned their name. Thousands of microscopic nematocysts fire venomous harpoons that cause pain so intense that experienced divers have emerged crying. We filmed these defenses in extremely slow motion at 60,000 frames per second. The firing happens in 700 nanoseconds, an acceleration so rapid that it fires at 50,000 times the force of gravity, faster than a bullet leaving a rifle. Impossible. And yet, swimming peacefully among these poisonous minefields, hundreds of juvenile fish find perfect refuge where predators dare not venture. We returned during the new moon in April and witnessed underwater warfare. Millepora growing 10 centimeters in a year, an absolutely absurd rate compared to normal stony corals, aggressively colonizing every available surface. We filmed battles on the border where fire coral met brain coral, specialized filaments called dactylozoids extending like invisible tentacles, injecting toxins that melted competitor tissue, conquering territory cell by cell. During a tropical storm that brought 8-meter waves crashing over the reef, broken fragments were torn away and scattered for kilometers, but each piece larger than your thumb established a new colony where it landed. Instantaneous asexual reproduction, transforming destruction into opportunity. And then came the spawning. On a specific night after a full moon, billions of gametes exploding simultaneously, tinting the ocean a milky white visible even from the main beach 3 kilometers away. Scientists recently discovered that compounds in its nematocysts kill antibiotic-resistant bacteria and human breast cancer cells in laboratory tests. Venom that burns divers could save millions of lives. Nature is never simply good or bad. 1,400 meters below the surface, where pressure would crush a nuclear submarine in milliseconds, and darkness is so complete that concepts like day and night lose meaning, we descended in an extreme-depth research submersible. A freezing temperature of 3 degrees Celsius, 0 sunlight penetrating, pressure of 140 atmospheres compressing every molecule. Then our lights revealed a living nightmare, a female deep-sea anglerfish, Melanocetus johnsonii, 120 centimeters long, its bulbous body as black as pitch covered in photophores that blinked in hypnotic patterns of blue-green bioluminescence. Such a small bird, such a big fight. This was just a microscopic fragment of the impossible wonders hidden in the depths of the Indian Ocean. Secrets that humanity is losing faster than it can document them. If these incredible stories of survival, intelligence, and absolute beauty touched something deep within you, if you feel anger at the destruction we witnessed, hope for the wonders that still exist, then I need you to do 3 things right now. First, smash that like button with full force, because every like tells the algorithm to show these extraordinary creatures to millions of people who need to witness them before it's too late. Second, subscribe and turn on notifications, because we are releasing an even more shocking documentary about deep-sea creatures that scientists discovered just 3 weeks ago and didn't believe were real. Third, share this video with 5 people today, especially that person who says nature is boring. Because when you share, you become part of the solution, amplifying the voices of those who cannot speak for themselves. Every view, every like, every comment is a direct vote for the conservation of this legacy that belongs to your children, grandchildren, and all future generations. The ocean is calling your name, and together we can ensure these wonders live on beyond our lifetimes. Now, tell me in the comments, which of these impossible creatures shocked you the most? See you on the next dive into the depths.